Nymphomaniac Volume 1 tells the story of Jo and how she is found on the street by a man and ultimately helped out, and how she discusses with him the story of her life all the way from her childhood and her general problem that she is a nymphomaniac. And I feel that I can talk about Nymphomaniac Volume 1 on its own because it's not half of a whole movie, rather it is one part of a two-part saga. The basic subject matter really is sex, the act of sex, the art of sex, the necessity of sex, and a lot about sex, but the film is not porn disguised as a film, rather it's a film disguised as porn. There is so much more depth to Nymphomaniac Volume 1 that I expected that really made me think that it was indeed an enjoyable film. It really manages to delve into Jo's character and how she expresses the necessity and desire for lust, and how this desire almost makes and breaks her at the same time. Furthermore, it talks about a lot of different aspects of sex that are around us and the repercussions of sex in general and what it means to certain people. Sex with relation to love, and how, according to some people, love is essential for sex, and how people kind of treat sex as just an activity nowadays, and a lot of different things, and a lot of interesting and thought-provoking things told with a series of interesting metaphors. For example, comparing the act of finding a mate to have sex with to the act of fly fishing was definitely an interesting metaphor, to say the least. Furthermore, Lars von Trier uses so many different elements in order to enhance the viewing experience. Simple things such as numbers and words popping up on the screen, diagrams, visual elements, musical notes, a lot of different elements here and there that add a bit of a touch to each and every moment, showing the extreme delicacy and care with which this almost tricky subject matter has been dealt with. And I feel that while certain moments are grotesque and do cross certain comfortable zones and limits, I still think that Nymphomaniac Volume 1 succeeds at what it was trying to say. At the same time, I will not deny that the film has its flaws. First off, the character interaction, that is partly a narration between Stellan Skarsgård's character and Charlotte Gainsbourg's character of Jo, does not always feel natural. It feels like they are the smartest people, like they are students of psychology that understand literally everything about the universe after a point, and it really does not make this conversation that believable, where they go fact after fact after fact, and they always meet each other halfway, and it's really just distracting after a point. And there are some facts that are presented that are extremely interesting and serve a purpose of the film, and others which might be interesting which really don't serve much of a purpose to the film at all, and these facts feel very out of place and just almost, I hate to use the word indulgent, but they just feel a little bit indulgent, as if a way that the writer is trying to show that the knowledge that he possesses. It's a pretty weird thing that occurs throughout the film. Furthermore, the film tries very hard, and it succeeds at what it is doing in terms of conveying the message that it has to convey about the general idea and the perception of sex. And a very interesting thing where you have almost a sex cult developing with Jo's character when she's still a young child, but still, at times it feels like it's trying overly hard to be artsy in a way, and I feel bad for saying this, but there are times where it feels a little bit indulgent, a little bit too much, where, you know, if they held back a bit, I feel that the film could have definitely progressed far better than it ultimately did. Nonetheless, Nymphomaniac Volume 1 has so much to look forward to, including a fantastic performance by Shia LaBeouf. I mean, this is a film that you're not going to get to see that often, that I am actually happy to see in theaters, so that your average moviegoer gets a bit of a new experience when it comes to visiting the cinema. I'm going to give Nymphomaniac Volume 1 a double yes.